How to write a two-page paper. It is important to have a structure for every paper no matter what the length. This structure is usually most effective when used with headings. Headings help the reader to know exactly where you are going. For purposes of this paper, I see the headings being as follows. Remember, in the paper, always follow directions for double space and MLA style. If you need info on MLA, check the link in WebCT. Title of the work: Perhaps the Paradox of Overpopulation. It is great to have a quote from someone famous right after the title of the work. If you look while you are doing research, you will find a quote that is kind of synthesis of your findings. Introduction or statement of the problem. 2. Findings or research findings. 3. Comparisons of the paradox. 4. Conclusions. Introduction. There is a paradox that exists between the concerns of overpopulation of California and the continued growth for this state. On the one hand, most people are tired of the traffic and the pollution. On the other hand, without new people in the state, our economy will become flat. We are all aware without growth there is stagnation. The purpose of this paper is to consider the paradox of these two positions. First, I will some information on the statistics of the population of California. Then one paragraph about what the population is today and what projections are some data. Additionally, I will define the words used in this paper. Go the dictionary and define growth, overpopulation, high density, or whatever, but give the definition of 4 of 5 words you will be using. The final paragraph of the introduction goes like this. Therefore, there is a need to consider the paradox that exists between the concerns for overpopulation and growth. This paradox is the subject of this paper. Your introduction on a 10-page paper should be at least a page, maybe a page and a half. How to write a 2-page paper. Page 2. 2. Findings. Start this section with some quotes using the material you have found. Then carefully break down the research into 2 categories and give them headings. For example, A. Overpopulation concerns. Findings, quotes from the research. B. Growth concerns. Findings, quotes from the research. This section should be about 8 pages. I would do 3 pages on overpopulation and 3 on growth concerns. 3. Comparisons of the paradox. If you've noticed so far in this paper, you have done no thinking. You have just researched and restated thoughts by other people. But for about 1 page, you need to put down what your ideas are. You can take a position and state clearly why you feel the way you do. For example, when I consider all of the evidence concerning the paradox of overpopulation concerns and growth concerns, I feel more compelled to consider the issues of growth concerns to be more important than the overpopulation concerns. This next sentence is important. I understand that highly intelligent and well-educated individuals can differ on this conclusion. However, based upon my research and life experience, I consider growth concerns to be more important for the following reasons. A. Example: no growth. Economy slows, loss of jobs and property values. B. Example: no growth. California is the largest economy in the US, and when our economy slows, so does the entire nation, and by implication, in a global economy, so does the rest of the world. Whatever you think here, this second is about 1 page. 4. Conclusion. This is the easiest part of the paper. Just recap the introduction. Be sure to not introduce any new material in the conclusion. Just restate the introduction, really. The more of the same words and thoughts you use, the better. Sometimes I write the introduction after I've done the research. Research can consist of 1 good article for pro-growth and another good article on overpopulation concerns. Good articles are like from the Harvard Business Review. You can get them online by going to Harvard Business Review through the National University Library. Also, there is a web titled articles.com that some of my students have been using successfully. For your bibliography, which is an attachment on a separate page at the end of the work entitled References, and remember to use MLA. Be careful with references. Every period needs to be in just the right place.